how to mount a red dot. All right, when you mount a red dot, it's something you can do yourself with a couple simple tools. If the weapon is sight ready and made to mount a red dot, then you can do it yourself. You don't need a gunsmith to do it. If you need help, you could probably talk to the guys at the gun shop and they could help you, but there's plenty of great videos online, or you can watch this video because it'll be a great video online and it'll show you. If you got the basic tools to do it, a couple basic tools, it's really simple to do. So here again, I'm going to show you, this is the FN 509. It's a mid-size, great weapon system. It comes sight ready. You can see it comes already with the suppressor height sights on it, and you can see the cutout. This will come with several adapter plates that will be categorized for whatever sight that you choose. In this case, we're going to put a Loophole Delta Point Pro on, and so I picked the plate. This is the plate that's the adapter plate for the Delta Point Loophole Pro, and that's what we're going to put on there. It's real simple. If you look, it fits snugly into its little system right here. It'll mount and pop right on right there, and now it's set up to grab those two pins, line up nicely with the two pinholes at the front of the Delta Point Pro, so you know that it's lined up and it's secure. And so I'll drop that thing on there, it'll fit snugly in there, and it holds it nicely in place right there. Then the trick is to just get the screws and place them in. The screws, when they come with the factory, will come with a little blue mark on there. Don't wipe it off. That blue mark is Loctite, which is a thread locker that's on there that's designed so that they lock in once they're snugged in to the manufacturer's specifications. Once they're snugged in, they'll stay and they'll hold and they won't vibrate out. If you have hardware and it doesn't have Loctite on it, or some kind of thread locker, you're gonna wanna get some thread locker and put it on it. And that's what I'm gonna do now. So I'm gonna reach back here and grab my handy dandy fix-it sticks, which is a great system of tools for a weapon system. I love it because it's got this great little magnetic pad, and all the screws stick to it, that way I don't lose my screws. And you can see here, I got my bottle of thread locker. I like to use the orange thread locker. Don't confuse that with red thread locker. Don't use red. I recommend either using blue or orange colored thread locker, and then I can pick the wrench. These screw in with a Torx bit. A Torx bit, it looks like an Allen wrench, but it has a star head. You want to make sure you don't try and do it with an Allen head, because all you're going to do is strip out the Allen head, or even worse, strip out the screw, and that would be very bad, because then you do have to take it to a gunsmith or a machine shop to get that thing taken out, and that's going to keep you off the range and cause all kinds of problems. So make sure you're using the appropriate tool. The appropriate tools come in the fix-it stick kit, so if you got a fix-it stick set, it's perfect for it. So now I'll just take it, I drop it in, make sure it's lined up, and gently turn it so that the threads grab, that way you don't accidentally cross thread it. You want to take your time on this and make sure it goes in. And this, the first one, I'm just going to turn a little bit until it just stops, nice and smooth, not tightening it down, because I want to get the other one in, because I want to make sure that they get torqued down evenly, and they're not putting a lot of pressure on one screw, because then the vibration of the weapon reciprocating can break one screw. And if one of those screws breaks in there, that's a bad day. So once they're both snug, then you can come back and tighten them down the rest of the way to the manufacturer's specification, right? Usually just tight plus a little extra bump is enough to keep them in place if you got a good thread locker. But look at your manufacturer's specification and see the fix-it stick does come with a torque wrench setup. So I can put the torque wrench in there, and if it says to put it down to a certain amount of inch-pounds, you can use that system. That's why it's such a great system. It's literally made for weapons and gun sights and things. Once that's in there, make sure it's good and snug. Make sure there's no gap in the system, or that there isn't something sticking up, and that it sits nice and flush on the system, and that it's securely mounted, and there's nothing foul in the system, and that it looks good. It should sit there comfortably, and you should be able to observe the iron sights over the top of it if you got the suppressor height sights, and that's it. That's all there is to mount to these things. That's why I said, if you got one of these suppressor if you got one of these sight-ready slides on your newer weapon systems, it's that easy. It's line it up, put the right adapter plate, put the thing on, turn in 2 screws, snug it down, and you're off to the races. It doesn't get much easier than that, and that's the beautiful simplicity of the new red dot sight. Doesn't require a machine shop, doesn't require a PhD in screwing in things. You just put it on, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, now we're gonna go into the specifics of zeroing a red dot sight. So I got a lot of questions about zeroing a red dot sight. Mostly, what distance do I zero my red dot at? It's not like rifle. Most people, what they'll do when they zero their red dot is they're just gonna co-witness it to the iron sights, which means whatever the iron sight zero is on a pistol, the red dot 0 will be on the pistol. If you had a specialty or a special purpose and you wanted to sight this in for a different distance, you could, but typically in defensive shooting, we don't. You just want it to marry up with the iron sights. So the very first thing I'm gonna do is look through the iron sights, make adjustments using the up-down screw on the top and the windage screw on the side until that red dot lines up with where my iron sights line up when I'm looking through the iron sights. It's easy. My iron sights are already fixed and lined up for the weapon system. I just move the red dot to where they sit neatly on the top of the front sight post when the iron sights are lined up. Once I've done that, that's called co-witnessing. They are co-witnessed, which means they're generally on, but I might have to make 1 or 2 small adjustments after I've co-witnessed them, right? So I'm just gonna look through the sights, right? Make sure that my iron sights and my red dot sight line up so that as I'm lining up my iron sights, my red dot sits right where my front sight post is. And it's generally like that. With just putting this on from the factory, it was almost already lined up with the iron sights. They'll generally be on when you get them. You should know this too about the 0. Most of these sights these days, like I said, they're very ruggedized. They hold their 0 very well, especially compared to older models. But if I fly somewhere or this thing gets jockeyed around, or for God forbid I drop it in the floorboard or something happens while I'm manipulating the weapon system, or if I take it apart and put it back together, I'm gonna wanna recheck the 0. And I can do that just by co-witnessing and making a couple small adjustments. That's what I do, that's how you do it. So anytime I fly somewhere with it, which I do often, I get off the flight, the very first thing I do is I come out to the range, I test fire it and make sure my 0 is holding true. If it's not, I just make a quick adjustment or 2. Always start by troubleshooting, make sure that your sight is still screwed on tight. It's nice and snug, it's not the sight that's moving. Once the sight is good and secure, then you can make any adjustments. It's quick. You can do it with a small screwdriver. You can do it with a brass. Actually, the loophole, Delta Point Pro is designed so you can just use a 9mm piece of brass and you can actually adjust it with that. You don't need an additional tool, but it's nice to have a tool. So that's what we're gonna show you now, is how to do a full 0. If you want to do a full 0, I recommend having a range buddy. I got my range buddy out here today. It's Yako, our director of training. He's out to help me. The easiest way to do this is just to pair up with somebody and do it. Yako's got a tool, and what I'll do is I'll just fire a couple shots and I'll let him know up, down, left, or right, and he'll make adjustments to my sights as necessary. Then we don't have to come out of the sight picture or move my hands out of the grip, and you can quickly make adjustments. Once we get there, we verify, I make my shots and I know that I'm on, good. If you look at the distance I'm shooting, I typically will 0 between 7 and 10 meters because those are defensive distances, and that's where most defensive altercations happen, at those ranges. And so that's where I want my sight range to. There isn't a lot of logic in zeroing this thing at 25 or beyond 25 meters because it's beyond the effective range really of the weapon system, especially if you have a compact. They're just not going to hold their 0 at those distances. So pick a reliable distance where you know the weapon will hold at 0, and then it's only going to take minor adjustments. It's going to be good. If it's good at 10 meters, it's going to be good at 20 meters. It's going to be good at 5 meters without any kind of holdover or any other kind of adjustments. I know it's going to be good as a defensive weapon system. I'm going to be able to shoot it. So that's what we're going to do there. I got my eye protection. Yako's got his eye protection. I got my ear protection. Yako has his ear protection. He's got the tool. I got the weapon. We're going to do some shots on target and get this thing zeroed real quickly and show you just how easy it is to do. It's already co-witnessed to the iron sights. And so now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thing, and we're going to make the final adjustments starting from this position. I'll put my ear pro on, get her loaded up, and we'll go. So all you want to do is make sure you use good fundamentals of marksmanship. I got a good stance, good grip, everything's good, steady position. All right, I'm going to start, aim, right? Nice slow trigger squeeze. I'm going to slowly squeeze the trigger and just break a nice slow round, see where it impacts. Okay, so I'm shooting right for the 10, and if you can see on this target, I'm just slightly high and left of the 10. High and left of the 10. So the 0 does need to be adjusted just a little bit. So I'm going to make a second shot to see where that hits. Nearly in the same place, so that tells me for sure my 0 is off and it needs to be adjusted. So I'll tell him to go down a click. If you look on the top of the sight, it'll show you up or down. So it'll come down a click. Usually what I'll do is I'll adjust in one direction and get it good and level in one direction, and then I'll come back and do the other direction. Instead of trying to chase both elevation and windage at the same time, I try to do it in one direction, get one direction corrected, and then get the other direction corrected. It'll require more shooting, but what a bummer. I get to shoot more. Yeah, now we're on plane. You see how we're right on level with the 10? That was a great adjustment. Now Jako's gonna come around to my other side, all right? And now he's just gonna adjust me to the right. And so I need the round to go to the right, and so he's gonna make the adjustment to the right. So wherever it says right, he turns it to the right. So wherever you want the round to go, that's where you turn the screw to the right. Now I'm gonna take my shot. Beautiful, right through the 0 of the 10, that's right where I wanted to be. Couple quick adjustments and I'm spot on. Once I'm spot on, then all I gotta do is do a couple confirmation shots. So I pick a clean target, make some confirmation shots. Slow aim fire, I know I can put it right through the hole of the 10. That's good, it's an accurately zeroed weapon system. Rapid fire, I can keep them in the 10 at defensive distances. I know that's a good zeroed red dot sight, and so it's ready to go, it's ready to carry. And then all I gotta do is whenever I pull it out of my bag to shoot it again, I'll confirm that 0 quickly, and I know I'm good to go, and red dot, easy to go. All right, so the last question I get mostly about the red dot sight is new shooters with the red dot sight, they have difficulty acquiring the red dot sight. Thanks, Jako. So is the difficulty in acquiring the red dot sight, which means once I start looking through there, I don't see it, right? I want to train myself so that as I present the weapon, I present it in the same fashion as always. When I present a weapon, I'm always driving my front sight post towards the target. As I do that, my rear sights come up into alignment, and when they do, that red dot drops from the top of the window right down onto the tip of the front sight post because I co-witnessed it, right? So as long as I drive my front sight post in and line my sights up, that red dot is gonna jump right into my line of sight. Once I acquire it, keeping it in my line of sight is very easy, okay? It's just getting it that's tricky. So I know a lot of people just stab it out and they're searching for it. What you have to do is still draw and present like you normally would with iron sights, pushing my front sight, lining my rear sights, and that's gonna bring it right into your sight. Once it's in your sight and you're locked onto it, now I don't have to look at my iron sights anymore. Why the red dot is easy to follow with my eyes, so I just follow it wherever I wanna go. Wherever I put that red dot, I know where the round's gonna go. It's just that easy. So if you're having difficulty finding the red dot sight, it's because you haven't figured out that I still have to line up my iron sights to do it. I still have to drive my front sight post into what it is that I'm shooting. And once I do that and bring my rear sight up and the weapon levels out, that red dot's gonna jump right into my view. It does a great job. And it's the fastest way I've found to do it. And that's how I explain it to most folks when they ask, it's easy. Which brings me to my kind of last point about the red dot sight. And one of the last myths I will dispel about the red dot. The red dot typically does not make you faster first shot out of the holster on target, because I still have to push my front sights and line my front sights up and find the red dot. So usually by that time, my draw, it stays about the same. Draw out of the holster on a target, first shot on target, it's not gonna get quicker. It can get faster with practice, but the red dot usually doesn't accelerate it. It's after that. It's once I've acquired that red sight, my splits from target to target, if I have multiple targets where I'm shooting across a series of targets, or once I've acquired it, it's much faster there. That's where you make your money with this thing, is once I've acquired that red dot sight, I can go from target to target quickly, accurately, easily, and it's easy to index. I no longer have to line anything up. It's one red dot, wherever the red dot is, game on. Whereas with iron sights, if I move target to target, when I get it there, I still have to line the two up and make sure that they're lined up correctly. Not the same with the red dot, and that's the true benefit of the red dot. It's fast out of the holster. It may improve things if you work at it, all right, but really splits target to target really get accelerated. You'll find your target to target shooting gets exponentially faster and more accurate, and that's the beauty of this system. I really suggest that you invest in one. They're worth their weight in gold. They become so reliable, you almost can't say no to it. If you made a $500 investment in your gun, make another $300 investment in a red dot sight and get a good holster, and you have a great, complete, all-purpose weapon system that's good for fast indexing, self-defense, competitive shooting. There's just a beautiful system. I highly recommend you get it. Look for more videos from us in the future. If you like this video, like and subscribe so we can make more of these videos. If you don't like what I said, you do like what I said, or if you have other questions, just write them in the comments below. We'll check them out. I'd be glad to respond to you. I'd be glad to give you any information that I have, or any subtleties that I didn't cover, or if you know of other systems that we didn't cover, or other specialties that we didn't cover, bring them up and we'll research and we'll give you our opinion. And we love to give our opinions here at Sheepdog Response. Go to sheepdogresponse.com. Check out more of our videos. Thanks for tuning in and have a great day on the range.